Welcome to Shelley's Table. Today I'm taking you inside a truly charming celebration, a Peter Rabbit baby shower, inspired by the magic of Beatrix Potter and the whimsy of Mr McGregor's Garden. Think soft sage greens, rustic textures and a little storybook detail hidden in every corner. From the table setting and flowers to the playful Peter Rabbit touches, each element was designed to feel warm, nostalgic and just a little bit enchanting. So if you love creative ideas and timeless themes, stay with me. I can't wait to show you how I brought this garden story to life.
Hello, I'm Michelle, the lady in the red scarf, and I'm going to take you through some of the small details for our Mr McGregor's baby shower that we hosted recently. We've had lots of feedback on how cute it was, so let me take you through how we did it. One of the most adorable things was these little rain boots that we did as these flower arrangements. So my daughter didn't know the sex of her baby and still doesn't know. So we didn't want to do a Peter Rabbit thing. It was a little too blue. So we came up with the idea of a garden, Mr McGregor's Garden. So we could use all our florals and all our fancy things with a little bit of a sage green. So we got these adorable boots at Big W. We got 3 sets and then I spent a total of $45 on flowers. I went with all chrysanthemums because that's pretty much all they had at the supermarket. They were $15 a bunch, and I filled these little boots up with the vases, and then we had them scattered lots of other places. These beautiful sage green vases that I got from Kmart in a set of 3 some time ago, I had lavender from my garden in those, and that was just adorable. So let me show you how we did the vases. So these are various little things. This is actually a glass house candle that is, past its use by date. And I put the flowers in there and then they all seem to fit in. So that was one. So that's adorable. And then the different size ones, as we sized up in the boots, I was able to use several of these little adorable vases, which I've got many of, which come in very handy. And I was able to put 2 in each boot. These probably aren't the ones. They were a lot fuller. I probably used one of these other vases. See, just any vase that you can, jam jars, whatever. And you can see that they look adorable. They just made a darling centerpiece. What we did, because it was Mr McGregor's Garden and there was a fair bit of Peter Rabbit involved, we used the books, the Peter Rabbit books. Oh gosh, if I can get them out. Here we go. We just used, this is the tale of 2 bad mice. They were just on the table, scattered around, and they just made an adorable little detail for the Peter Rabbit / Mr McGregor's Garden theme. Now for a Mr McGregor's Garden theme, we wanted to go all out with the garden. So we were lucky enough to have some fresh pumpkins straight from my in-laws farm, which we had literally everywhere. In the center of the table, I had a large tray filled with vegetables, as you can see in the photo. And of course, they were vegetables that we'll use again. One of the most beautiful ones was this kale as part of the decoration. It's like a real life flower. It's looking a little bit sad there at the moment. It's been in water for a week. I am going to cook that up in the air fryer, some salt and vinegar flavored kale chips, which should be yummy. Now I love Easter and I do have a lot of rabbits. So most of the decorations I use, these ones are from Bed Bath and Table, and they were really just rabbits with a garden theme. There wasn't any Easter eggs involved anywhere in any of my decorations, except for this guy, who I absolutely adore. He had an Easter egg down the bottom, but I was a little bit cheeky and I covered that up with some flowers. He was for the backdrop for the photo booth, and you couldn't see his egg. So he was the only one that was actually Easter orientated. So use all the things that you've already got. That's my secret. It's always nice when people come to your home to give them a little something to take away. So originally what we were going to do was, we thought would be so sweet, is to have succulents in some terracotta pots on display. And then we could have a sign to say something along the lines of, watch me grow, or thanks for watching me grow. These are what I ordered online. Bit of a fail. So we weren't going to get anything in there, and they had a hole in them as well. So they made for adorable little decorations everywhere. They were just scattered all over the place, little pots, which was cute. So what we ended up with for the thank you was, I had this wonderful little box. He's Peter Rabbit. I got him from the reject shop this year. He'll be part of my Easter decoration. And we bagged up some little chocolates, which are delicious. These ones, there's about 4 or 5 in each bag. And then we had a sign, sweet of you to come and celebrate baby Martin, please take a treat. So this little guy, the bunny in the sage green jacket, I was able to get with the use of ChatGPT, which has been wonderful. And then I just blue tacked these little fences that I got from the cheap shop to make it. And that was sitting on our air conditioner unit outside, just with a lovely table runner and of course, some more flowers. One of the really cute things I thought was the little things I got from the craft section of all the cheap shops, Kmart, Reject Shop, all the little dollar stores that you can find. So these little mushrooms were literally everywhere. These butterflies were from the craft section of Kmart, and they featured heavily everywhere, just on the tables. I also put these little ladybugs all along the table and on the food table and on the signs. They were super cute. And these butterflies, if we have a baby girl, can be used again because they're actually hair clips. So when I made the nappy cake, the diaper cake, I was able to clip these ones on, which was super cute. Little bees, they went everywhere. And these other ones, these butterflies, these came on sticks. I stuck those in a lot of the flower arrangements, and the prettier ones, this is quite dark, and then I took the stick off most of them and double-sided tape and put them on the wall all around where the food was. It looked really sweet. Using things that you've already got is definitely the key. This little cute white picket fence, which of course goes with the Peter Rabbit, Mr McGregor's Garden theme, that's out of my Christmas set, my Christmas village set. I've got my gardening gloves. They were just propped up as props with our existing rake and shovel. I got all the pot plants that I could, including my herb garden, and put them all together with some of the trusty pumpkins. But one of the really cute things was decorating with some baby clothes. So this adorable little jacket made a great talking point. It's my father's baby jacket, and my father is about to turn 91. So this little exquisite jacket, which was hand crocheted, made a great talking point. I just had it sitting at the drink station, and it was just a nice way, especially for the great grandmothers to be that were here, to have a little chat and a talk. It was something a bit special and personal. So try and incorporate something like that if you can. As well as all the fresh flowers that I had and the garden lavender, I try and incorporate all the artificial flowers that I have everywhere. So these blooms are, on display in one of the lounge rooms, and I have, the bunches that I have in the kitchen and the bathroom. Wherever I've got some artificial, real life looking artificial flowers, I try and just incorporate with them, and they made it extra pretty. It was a bit of a drizzly cold day, but I had blankets on the chairs, which helped, warm people up if they wanted, because it was outside on our deck. So let's talk food and table setting decorations. How are you going to feed 30 people on a cold Australian winter's day for lunch? That was a bit of a challenge. Normally for a baby shower, we would do heaps of finger food and probably go to Costco, get some of their fabulous sandwich platters and wrap platters. A little bit too cold for that. So we came up with the idea of pumpkin soup for a starter, which of course I got lots of pumpkins, or access to lots of pumpkins. So that was delicious. We served them in like tiny bowls, which was super. Even like got out all my ramekins. That was a great starter. And we served that with beautiful fresh damper rolls, which were a great hit, of course, in a basket with a checky tablecloth inside. So next up, the mains. So all the mains could be eaten with forks. So I just had these adorable, my beaded collection, which I love, which is the figs and feta beaded collection. They also featured on my stands, and these gorgeous Morgan and Finch bunny plates that I got from Bed Bath and Table. I did promise myself if they went half price at Easter, I would get them, and oops, they did. So they don't have any eggs on them, so they're not a typical Easter plate, but they do have bunnies on them, and of course I will be using them at Easter. And another thing is my beautiful linen serviettes, which I just adore. They were all secondhand. They were actually brand new, still in the packets from Lifeline, and I've added them to my own selection of serviettes that I've collected over the years with various tablecloths. I always keep them ironed. They're beautiful. They just add a lovely little element. They're all different, but they were used as well, and it's great to have those on hand. We of course have our tower trays. I can't recommend them enough. Anytime, beg, borrow, or steal some cake plates, towers to serve the food, goes up, gives you plenty of table room, and visually it looks fabulous. So mains, we had a large vegetarian lasagna, which was beautiful, make ahead. And then we had a very large mince pasta dish called pastizio, which is basically just a spaghetti bolognese recipe with a creamy white sauce and cheese served on top. 2 large garden salads, which were fresh, and we served the dressing on the side. And then we had this tray filled with mini sausage rolls, mini party pies, pastries, and little mini quiches, and that was really nice. So I don't think there were any hungry tummies at all for the day. And then of course we went on to desserts, which is another story. So as I mentioned before, we had the sage green gender neutral theme. So I had those beautiful checky tablecloths, which I got from Kmart, which I've already used so many times, and are just going to be one of those ones on repeat that I can use with all my coloured glassware. So I used the green, the pink, and the blue, and that was scattered all throughout. I had the water jugs, anything rabbit that I could find from Easter I bought out, and of course the beautiful champagne coupes. They're a little bit tricky to use. They're just from Kmart. They were very cheap. They're very thin. I probably don't like drinking Prosecco out of them. Most people didn't. They're rather big and bulky, but they really added to my aesthetic, so I wanted to keep them. I'll probably use those as my chocolate mousse or dessert glasses in future. But that was super cute. And this little please dig in sign, that was courtesy of ChatGPT, who I asked to make me a Mr McGregor's please dig in sign. So that was a nice little touch. And of course, as I mentioned before, I had all the little lady beetles and the butterflies and the bees all scattered around the food table. Utensils were served in watering cans, which just added to the garden theme. So I think it was just a feast for the eyes as well as for the tummy.